Well, you guys smashed that like button on the Red Dragon Archfiend profile well above 50 likes, well before 24 hours. So instantly, I was going to bring you this combo tutorial. Now we're going to start off very basic. We're going to start off with Soul Resonator. These combos can adapt just as long as you open up different ways to get to your Soul Resonator. And throughout this combo, you'll see those different points, being the Vice Dragon, Crimson Gaia, you name it. There's loads of different ways you can start this combo off and push you through. I'm then going to show you two more combos as well that will start with different starters in the form of like Bone Archfiend and kind of what else you can do with the deck. I'll also show you points of adaptation, so if you want to be a bit more defensive, what route you can go for, and if you want to be a bit more aggressive, what route you can go for. So I'm also going to bring you the duel between Red Dragon Archfiend and Clown Crew tomorrow, as that's actually a really fun duel to watch. And then after that, if you guys want to see more Red Dragon Archfiend content, all you got to do is let me know. And then we've got the option of either K9 Vanquish Soul or K9 Archmage as well that you can see. So, enough talking. Let's get into this. So you start off with Soul Resonator, and then all you need is any discard. That's all you need. So you normally summon down your Soul Resonator. Of course, this combo is not going to be perfect. This is uninterrupted where you can go. But remember, each stage of this combo, you could already hard open up this piece we're trying to look for. So I'll show you what I mean. So you normally summon down the Soul Resonator. You want to search out your Bone Archfiend. You could have already opened up the Bone Archfiend, so the negation on the Soul Resonator doesn't matter. You then special summon down the Bone Archfiend by discarding that card from the hand. Then use Bone Archfiend's effect to send Vision Resonator from deck to the graveyard. Now again, in this scenario, if they were to negate the Bone Archfiend, you still already have access or the possibility of hard opening up the Crimson Gaia as well. It is a bit of a shame that it does stop the level manipulation, so that's where it will adapt a little bit more, but that's something you kind of need to keep in mind. And the other downside is Bone Archfiend doesn't send us cost, so the Vision Resonator would never hit the graveyard, which again is a plus and a minus. Regardless, we adapt the level on the Bone Archfiend, we're then able to synchro into a level 8, going into our Crimson King. Now the Crimson King will allow us to add a card that mentions Red Dragon Archfiend from the deck to the hand. If your opponent interacts with this with a targeted effect, you tag it out and you just go into the Red Dragon Archfiend, so it's absolutely fine, you can dodge that targeted effect. The other is you want to search out your Power Vice Dragon. Yes, of course, before everyone goes crazy, Draw and Lockbird would suck. But again, this is non-interaction. Your opponent only has 2 chances to get Draw and Lockbird. And if you are that massively worried about Draw and Lockbird, you could either start playing cards like Crossout, Call By, or heck, even Salesman. So you search out your Power Vice Dragon, and again, the exact same play within reason can kind of be made if you hard open up the Power Vice Dragon as well, and you just adapt it a little bit more. Now remember, we haven't used the Crimson Gaia effect yet. That's going to come a little bit later. So we're going to be able to special summon down our Power Vice Dragon, because a Red Dragon Archfiend that is used synchro summon to this cannot be destroyed by battle, but as long as you control no monsters, or all monsters you control are Dark Synchros, you can special summon this card from the hand, and in doing so, if it's special summoned, you get to add a Resonator monster from the deck to the hand, so you're going to be able to grab yourself your Synchron Resonator. Again, another search that less common, because you play 3 Soul Resonator, 3 Bone Archfiend, 3 Crimson Gaia, 3 Power Vice Dragon, so less common that you're going to hard open up the Synchron Resonator, but there is still that possibility. Special summon down your Synchro Resonator, because as long as there is a Synchro monster on the field, you can do that, but you can only do that once per turn. And then you Synchro off your Power Vice Dragon and your Synchron Resonator to go into the Red Rising. You'll then be able to go Chainlink 1 Red Rising to bring back a Resonator from the graveyard, Chainlink 2 of your Synchron Resonator to add a Resonator from the graveyard back to the hand, and that is not a hard once per turn. So we get to add the Vision Resonator back to our hand. Remember, we haven't special summoned this yet, so we'll still have the ability to do so. And your Red Rising will bring back your Synchron Resonator. You're now going to special summon down your Vision Resonator because there is a level 5 or higher Dark Monster on the field. And then what you'll be able to do is you're going to be able to synchro your Crimson King with your Vision Resonator. Again, if you tagged it out into Red Dragon Archfiend, you'd still be in the exact same position. Into your Bestial Dispatter. And then you've got the ability to synchron, use your Synchron Resonator and your Red Rising to put these both together and get you into the Crimson Blade Dragon. You can then go Chainlink 1 Crimson Blade Dragon, Chainlink 2 will be your Synchron Resonator. This time you can recycle back the Soul Resonator should you want to. You actually want to keep your Vision Resonator in the graveyard because you will be banishing it and bringing it back later on. So bring back your Soul Resonator so you've replenished that card you discarded, and then you get to resolve the Crimson Blade Dragon to add your monster that cannot be normal summoned in set. In different variants, of course, you can just search Habakuri and try and go off from there. In this scenario, we're going to grab ourselves the Bestial Lubellium. Now you get to use Bestial Lubellian's effect to discard it to grab yourself your Bestial Magnamut. And now you get to use Bestial Magnamut's effect, target a light or dark in your graveyard. In this scenario, we're going to use Vision and banish it from the graveyard to then special summon down the Magnamut. You're going to use Magnamut's effect on the field. It's going to allow you to add a dragon from the grave or deck to the hand during the end phase. And again, depending on what your budget restrictions are, you're either going to be going for a Bestial Druid Swarm, or if you're unlimited on budget, you can go for the Harmonia, which will be probably one of the biggest disruptors you can get. You're now going to be able to send the Magnamut to the graveyard and summon out your Bestial Lubellian. And then use Bestial Lubellians to place face up any of the Bestial cards you choose to play, whether that be Regained, whether that be the Etude, or in this scenario is going to be the Branded Beast. Now, the difference with Etude is that Etude is like a lingering effect as long as you leave the Lubellian on the field, whereas Beast is one that needs to trade 1-for-1. So as long as you control a Bestial monster, you tribute any dragon monster and then target a card on the field and destroy it. And then during the end phase, you get to target a Bestial continuous spell or trap in the grave and place it face up. So with Beast, to get the most out of it, you kind of want to consider Regained, but you don't really need to go that much further. Now, if you want to keep the negate of Bestial Dispatter live, you would leave the Vision Resonator banished. Because I want to show you how max this kind of combo can go, use your Bestial Dispatter to revive your Vision Resonator, and then you get to synchro off your Crimson Blade Dragon and your Vision Resonator to get you into a hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. And this is where searching out the Druid Swarm would not be the worst idea, because you would have a dragon you could tribute to then destroy and then Druid Swarm to send. And on top of that, you'd also have the ability to banish a lighter dart from the graveyard so that your Bestial Dispatter's negation would then be live. Now, we haven't used the Crimson Gaia effect yet, so we're going to be able to use this in order to grab ourselves a card that mentions Red Dragon Archfiend, or of course, Red Dragon Archfiend itself from the grave, back, or deck to the hand. In this scenario, we're going to grab ourselves the King's Resonance, and we're going to be able to set the King's Resonance. So what we now have is in the end phase, we'll resolve the Magnamut, and in this scenario, we're going to grab our Harmonia. But if you do, like I've said, have a bit more budget restrictions, grab yourself a Druid Swarm. So as this currently stands, what we have is we have Branded Beast to contribute off any of our 3 dragons to destroy a card. As long as we control the Bestial, so you probably want to make sure you don't tribute off your Lubellian where at all possible. We've then got the King's Resonance, that if your opponent special summons 10 or more times, they can't respond to this card. But the idea is that if they special summon once, you get to bring back a Dark Synchro from the graveyard, which at this moment in time, you've got the Crimson Blade Dragon, you've got your Red Rising, and you've got your Crimson King. Now, the big thing that you'll get with the Crimson King is that if it's synchro summoned, you add, but it just needs to be on the field that when your opponent activates a monster effect, you get a quick effect to banish it, and then you get to special on a Red Dragon Archfiend. So this will be the one where you can get a doubled attack or double attack strength Red Dragon Archfiend, which can be quite useful for you. And then if they special on 3 or more, your Red Dragon Archfiend and your monster is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. And if they did 5 or more, you get to change all of their monsters to face down defense position. What you need to remember with the Red Dragon Archfiend is that during your end phase, it will self-implode. But the idea is that at the base minimum, your King's Resonance is going to bring back your Crimson King. So let's say we just do this for this. And then what you would do here is you'd be able to trade off your Crimson King for a Red Dragon Archfiend, which is going to set you up with a 6k attacker of your Red Dragon Archfiend. And remember, if a monster on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you get special on a Red Dragon Archfiend from the graveyard. So you've got this to go Beast, Destroy. And then you'll be able to destroy something and then use Crimson Gaia to bring it back, or you leave this on the field at 6k. The idea is that that's your 1 disruption and float round. You've got negate off your Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. If you did have Druid Swarm, you'd be able to banish 1 from the graveyard and your Disbatter would be live. But then again, the idea is that if your opponent banishes, it will also still be live. And then you've got your Harmonia, and your Harmonia will reveal 5, 6 including itself. And of those 6, you ideally want to be sending your Pack Bit or you want to send your Malong, and those would then provide you with another layer of disruption. So that's your 1.5 card, very basic, very bottom combo. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset you this field, and I'm going to show you exactly what happens if you start off with a different starter and how far you can go. So I'm going to be back in a second. So this is going to be pretty much a similar combo, just done in a different way and using 1 less card. So you don't actually need to use your discard. This is what happens if you hard open up the Bone Archfiend. So you can start off by normal summoning down the Bone Archfiend. I know, that's wild that I'm normal summoning down Bone Archfiend, but of course you can special summon it if you have the discard, but we want to save that for a little bit later on. You're going to use Bone Archfiend's effect, you're going to do the exact same thing, send your Vision Resonator from deck to grave, trigger Vision Resonator's effect, grab your Crimson Gaia, activate the Crimson Gaia, use its effect to add a card that mentions Red Dragon Archfiend from the deck to the hand, and you're going to start off by adding the brand new Darkness Resonator. You're going to use Darkness Resonator's effect, you're going to reveal in your extra deck a Red Dragon Archfiend to then special summon it down. Now remember, the Bone Archfiend is currently a level 5 as it did manipulate its level. You'll be able to trigger the effect of your Darkness Resonator to give you an additional normal summon of a Resonator this turn as well. And then you're going to synchro both of these off, and you're going to grab yourself the Crimson King. Crimson King is going to grab you your Power Vice Dragon, and then you're going to be able to use Power Vice Dragon to special summon itself down. And this time, you're going to want to grab yourself your Soul Resonator. You're then going to be able to normal summon down the Soul Resonator, use the effect to add level 4 or lower Fiend from the deck to the hand, and you're going to grab your Synchron Resonator. Special summon down the Synchron Resonator, Synchro into the Red Rising, use Red Rising's effect and Synchron Resonator's effect to again pretty much do the exact same kind of play that you want to go for. So you'll bring back the Synchron Resonator and you'll add back the Vision Resonator. And then this is where it goes a little bit different, is you're going to synchro both of these and go into the Zarleen. Now remember, to make the Zarleen effective, you need to be able to chain like another card effect. So that's something you do need to keep in mind. If you were to play like quick plays or anything else in between, that gives you a bit more control. You're also then going to be able to special summon down your Vision Resonator. And before you go much further, you're also going to be able to utilize the effect of your Bone Archfiend in the graveyard, as we didn't do that previously, to send the Crimson Gaia and bring it back to the field. You'll then be able to synchro your Soul Resonator and your Bone Archfiend together, and this is going to grab you the Crimson Blade Dragon. Use the exact same effect to grab you the Lubellion. Lubellion's effect grabs you the Magnamut. Magnamut to special summon itself down, banishing one from the graveyard. This time we will banish our Synchron Resonator. And then you'll be able to do the switcheroo with the Magnamut and your Lubellion. Use Lubellion's effect to place your branded beast, Etude or Regained, face up onto the field. And then synchro summon your Lubellion with the Resonator. Now this is the one bit that will change and get a little bit risky if you don't have with the access of Beast, which is why we're going to change it with our end phase search of the Magnamut going to be Druid Swarm instead. But the idea is you get to go into your Bestial Dispatter. Use Bestial Dispatter's effect to bring back the Synchron Resonator. Synchron Resonator plus your Crimson King. Put those both together for your Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. And then resolve your end phase effect of your Druid Swarm to grab your your Magnamut to grab your Druid Swarm, but also make sure you don't forget your Synchron Resonator to let you recycle probably a starter for the next turn in the Soul Resonator. And ideally what you're going to want to do is as early as possible, you could either banish one of your opponent's monsters if they're playing a light and dark deck, or of course you do have the ability that they activate something, and as long as they've got a monster on the field, you could go Druid Swarm as Chain Link 2, and then you've got the ability of the Zarleen to negate Chain Link 1. So you've got a couple of different options there. But the idea is you're going to use your Druid Swarm to banish one from the graveyard. Doesn't really matter which one you banish right now. Summon down the Druid Swarm. Your Beast is now fully active because you control the Bestial. So you can now tribute off any of your dragons and destroy one. You've also got the ability of your Dispatter to negate or destroy, because you can put back your own Vision Resonator, or if you banish your opponent's graveyard, you've got that effect as well. You've got the ability to trigger the Zarleen as you wish. You've got the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. And the only thing that's currently like kind of stuck on the field is your Crimson Blade Dragon. But the Crimson Blade Dragon is still not that bad of a card, because this one will also have the ability that the start of the damage stat, if it battles level 5 or higher, you get to destroy that monster. So that's kind of nice. It makes it a bit awkward for your opponent to deal with this with a high attack stat monster. And then all you'll need to do is, if you are thinking a little bit further ahead, is by having your Dispatter in the extra monster zone, when it comes back to your turn, you can use Dispatter to bring back, and you've got ways to synchro off if you need to clear up a bit more space. But the idea is, you've still got your Dispatter, you've got your Beast, you've required one less card, and the rest of your hand is still going to be full. Now, it's a bit more specific because Bone Archfiend isn't as easily accessible as the rest, and of course you could play Foolish Burial to give it as much consistency as possible, but the idea is, this is just showing you a different way to play the combo with one less card. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset and show you the third and final combo to get you started with Red Dragon Archfiend. The final combo is going to be pretty much same but slightly different. So I'm going to show you what happens when you open up a combination of these three cards. Now, to save you needing to send a card from your hand for the Bone Archfiend effect later on in the turn, we're going to be able to utilize the Crimson Gaia. So the idea is we're going to start off with Crimson Gaia and Soul Resonator, or Power Vice, doesn't make a difference, because when you activate the Crimson Gaia, you'll grab your missing piece. In more times than not, the most common scenario would be to grab your Power Vice Dragon, as this could then get you a Synchron Resonator later on as well. So start off by specialing down the Power Vice Dragon, which has to be the second move you make, because you have to either control no monsters or only Dark Synchros. This will then give you the ability to grab your Synchron Resonator. So this is the perfect example that if you already have your Synchron Resonator, you can choose to search out your Soul Resonator instead. Then normal summon down your Soul Resonator, use the effect to grab you that all-important Bone Archfiend. When is this going to get a foil upgrade? And then what you want to do is you want to synchro these two together for a level 8. In this scenario will be your Crimson King. Trigger the Crimson King's effect. This is going to grab you your Darkness Resonator. At this point here, we can now summon down the Bone Archfiend, send in the face-up Crimson Gaia, as it's pretty much done everything we need it to do. Use your Bone Archfiend effect to send your Vision Resonator from deck to the graveyard and manipulate its level up by 1. So it's now level 5. Trigger your Vision Resonator's effect because it was sent to the graveyard to grab you either a Disruptor in the form of the King's Resonance or a follow-up play with the Crimson Call. In this scenario, we'll go with the King's Resonance and we're just going to place this in our Spell and Trap zone as it's now technically out of the way. If you are playing Solemn Accusation, that's your trap card set ready to play this card turn 0. So then what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to continue our plays further forward by specialing down the Synchron Resonator. And as your Bone Archfiend is a level 5 now, you can synchro these two together and get into your Red Rising. Chaining 1, Red Rising, chaining 2 will be your Synchron Resonator, adding back the Vision Resonator from the graveyard to the hand, and your Red Rising will revive your Synchron Resonator. We then synchro these two together to get ourselves into the Crimson Blade Dragon. Chaining 1 Crimson Blade Dragon, chaining 2 will be your Soul Resonator. In this scenario, grab back the Soul Resonator and add yourself a Bestial Lubellion. Use the Lubellion's effect again to grab you your Magnamut. Magnamut to special summon itself down, specifically banishing your Red Rising Dragon, which will all make sense in a short while. Then you do the switcheroo with the Lubellion, making sure that you can use Lubellion's effect to place your chosen branded spell or trap face up on the field, Regained, Etude, or of course Beast, and then we'll be able to continue our plays from here. So what you'll be able to do here is you want to reveal a Red Dragon Archfiend in your extra deck to special summon down your Darkness Resonator. In doing so, this will give you an additional normal summon of a monster, and the one we're going to want to summon down here is going to be our Soul Resonator. Now remember, Vision Resonator can pretty much enter the field of play as and when you want it to, so we've got a bit more flexibility to keep us moving. So then what you'll do here is you'll synchro your Soul Resonator with your Crimson Blade Dragon, and this will get you into your Bestial Dispatter. Use Bestial Dispatter's effect to bring back the Red Rising, and then special summon down your Vision Resonator. We're now going to use the effect of the Darkness Resonator to turn all tuners on your field into level 1s, being of course the Vision Resonator and the Darkness Resonator itself. Synchro your level 1 Vision with your Red Rising Dragon, and this will allow you to grab yourself a Zarlan. Then synchro your level 1 Darkness with your Crimson King, and this will let you get a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. Moving to the moving to the end phase, resolve your Magnamut's effect to grab you a Druid Swarm to make sure your Dispatter is live. It will also give you an effect that allows you to trigger off your Zarlan, because you can go Chaining 1 Druid Swarm, Chaining 2 Zarlan. You also have the option to do that with the Harmonia as well, but the idea is that your opponent will be Chaining 1, your Harmonia would then have to be Chaining 2, and then your Zarlan will then be able to negate Chaining 1. So it gives you that ability to kind of disrupt and play a little bit more, which could be very, very useful for you as well. So that's pretty much it for all 3 combos, giving you a bit more interaction for you to play around with, depending on what you want to choose to go for and what else you have in hand. But remember, that was a 2-card combo, so you're still going to be able to have 3 cards in the hand, plus the Druid Swarm that you searched. You've got your disruption of your branded beast, you've got the negate of the hot red, the negate of the Zarlan, the negate or disruption of your Dispatter, and your revival of the King's Resonance, which as previously shown, you'd use this to revive your Crimson King, and your Crimson King can then tag out to get a 6k Red Dragon Archfiend ready for the next turn. Thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, please put them in the comments down below. If you want to see a test hand combo video for this deck to show you what the deck does on a randomized basis, then let me know. But more times than not, I'd probably be able to bring you the duel videos from the weekend, as I feel that would be better practice against certain meta decks, just to kind of give you a bit of an idea of how it plays out with interactions and everything else in between. For now, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.